Hi everyone, and happy new moon in Libra, which occurred today at 12:31 p.m. So about almost 3 hours ago was when it was exactly the Earth and the Sun were exactly opposite one another, and apparently this new moon in Libra is also a super moon, which means that even though we can't see the moon because she's in her dark phase, she is as close to the Earth as she gets. And this particular moon is the closest that that the moon will get to the Earth in the year 2020. So it's a powerful lunation for me personally because my moon is in Libra. And it's really interesting to me. I want to share why new moon in Libra and being a Libra moon, how that actually manifests in my real life, and sometimes I don't even notice it. And then also as a pagan, this is the time of year as we get closer and closer to the end of October 31st is Samhain, and that is the Day of the Dead, essentially. It is the night when many cultures believe that the veil is thinnest. And so it is an opportune time to do ancestral work. Of course, you can do ancestor work all the time throughout the year, but the whole idea of working with energy is to kind of go with the flow. So when you know that all of the many, many ancient cultures and current cultures use this time of year and their consciousness believes that the veil is thin, that makes it easier actually to do that kind of ancestral work. So speaking of which, this is not my normal sort of style, this bling, if you will. This is a fake diamond ring that I bought my mom when she was alive. I bought it for, who knows, her birthday or Christmas or something. But because of arthritis, she'd been unable to wear her wedding ring with a giant diamond because of her arthritis on one of her fingers. So she ended up giving that ring to me, and then she would complain. She also had Alzheimer's, but she would complain about that she didn't have a big rock on her finger. So I bought her this fake diamond from Amazon, and she loved it, and she wore it the rest of her life until she passed. And so I'm wearing it in homage to my mother. I also have a picture of my mother and father on my altar right now, a little offering dish. I have one of my father's watches, and I have some, it's some pearl jewelry that was my mom's, and it's broken, and I wouldn't wear it anyway. But those are the things that I have on my altar. The offering plate, I will be thinking of things that my mother and father both enjoyed, and putting different types of offerings on that plate throughout this entire lunation. So starting today and then ending with the next new moon, I will continue to honor my mother and father. Now, my grandmother also is a very important ancestor, somebody that I knew in this lifetime, and I haven't been able to find what I used last year, a picture of her, so that's forthcoming. But as of today, I set up my altars. It's new moon. I smudge my entire house. I clean off my altars physically and energetically, and then I set up new altars for this coming lunation. For me personally, being a Libra moon, I never really understood my passion for justice and advocacy. I didn't realize that it was connected to me being a Libra moon, and I still sort of forget. But earlier this week, I was having a discussion with a friend of mine who we are on opposite ends of the political spectrum. And to date, that has not ruined our friendship. And I say that because I guess anything's possible at this point. But he's very well read. he's very intelligent and he's very well researched. And so he's kind of a walking encyclopedia when it comes to the Constitution. And so we were discussing aspects of the Constitution. And all I know is that I kept on saying, but that's not fair. And he kept saying, you're not listening. But I was listening. And what I heard wasn't fair. And so what I finally realized after the conversation, actually a few days later, was that I can listen to reason and logic. It's actually a big part of how my brain works. But the part of me that I cannot reason with, and that there is no logic, is my Libra moon. It's that emotional need for balance and harmony and peace. Okay, Micah. And so I realized that I actually I was listening. He wasn't listening. He couldn't hear that my emotional response to the Constitution was that it wasn't fair. And that's a legitimate, my belief that isn't fair is as legitimate as any amount of book knowledge that could come out of his brain. And so my whole point in bringing this up is that I realized that not only do I need to honor my own intrinsic motivations in life. So I have a need for peace and harmony. I have a need for justice. And the only way that I can show up in alignment in my life is to honor that. And that means that in a situation like that, facts don't matter. And so in a time where we have fake news and all kinds of other things that drive me bananas, I actually have had to take a step back from facts and from reality and from I don't know, I'm trying to think of news, but facts is where I can land, and I have to honor that which is in me and that I was created to express. And if I'm not honoring my Libra moon, and I'm not honoring my need for balance and peace and harmony, then I am not standing in my power and my truth. And that's what I ended up coming to a conclusion with, and had to write to my friend and say, look, we're going to have these discussions. I'm totally open to your way of being, but I need you to be open to my way of being. And that is honoring. When I say something's not fair, that's coming from the kindergartner inside of me. We all know right from wrong. We all know good and bad. We all know what's fair and what's not. And that's where I've landed as I enter into this season of darkness. And it's going to be an interesting one. Now, the last thing that I wanted to talk about was the card that I chose today. So I'm going to be working with this lunation with one of my favorite oracle decks. It's called the Lunar Nomad. And it's a very different type of deck compared to, I have all kinds of different decks. But this was the card I pulled today, and it was very appropriate for a dark moon. This is good for a day's worth of contemplation, and it's mice. And the meaning behind mice is I am being called to look at my toxic thoughts, emotions, and beliefs, and to clear them, the unhealed parts of myself that are constantly bubbling up. And I have found that to be true in the last 2 days, that on one hand, Libra, I'm talking about peace and harmony and how I have to stand above and beyond all of the insanity and craziness and hate, apparent hate that's out there, and stand in my truth. And in the very next second, I'm making a snarky comment on Facebook. That literally happened the other night, right after I got done posting something really beautiful about how I need to take the higher road, and then I went and took the lower road. And so it's really clear to me that if I'm not in alignment with what I truly believe, and I allow these knee-jerk reactions to be how I am in the world, how I'm showing up. Not only am I not helping the world, I am hurting the world. I'm part of the problem, and I insist on being part of the solution. So this lunation is helping to call me, to take me to task, to say, I can't talk this talk if I'm not willing to walk it. And I am willing to walk it. And so I have, each time that I make a misstep, I will correct it as soon as I see that I am not walking the walk. With that being said, I wish you all of the blessings of this new lunation going into this season. Stand in your power and your truth. And I know that if we all do that consistently, there is nothing that we can't accomplish together. I truly believe that. Peace.